The avocado sector contributes at least 11,500 jobs on farms and the production line in South Africa. Recent figures from Stats SA on the GDP results for the last quarter of 2021 shows a growth of 1.2%, driven by strong numbers from the agriculture, trade and manufacturing sectors. Now, among the top 20 global producers of avocados, South Africa produces over 120,000 tons of the crop annually. What was once a seasonal crop with a high price tag, it has now become more readily available all year round. Our environmental specialist reporter Nozintombi Miya spoke to the chairperson of the South African Avocado Growers Association.
What was once known as a rich man's fruit has now become more available to the common man, the humble avocado. And with us, we do have the marketing manager, Clive Garrett, of one of the biggest producers of avocados in the country. And he joins me now to talk a little bit more about this fascinating topic, the fruit known as avocado. Clive, thank you so much for joining me. Why avocados?
ZZ2 mainly concentrated on tomatoes in the past. We then decided a few years ago that it would be very good to start tackling the export markets. We already had a few avocados, but we decided to expand our avocado orchards, and now we're big into avocados.
Yeah. So in terms of how much you were able to produce before with avocados, how much were you producing, let's say 5 years ago, compared to how much you're producing now?
We're now probably producing more than double what we used to, because we've had a lot of new plantings. The big, let's say, constraint in terms of avocados in the past was access to plant material, trees. But ZZ2 in about 2010, I think it was, decided to open its own nursery, which we've done so very successfully, and now we have access to a lot of plant material.
Yeah. It's quite fascinating that you talk about the issue of opening up your own nursery. Just in the space of 30 minutes, you introduced us to two different varieties of the fruit. How many varieties are you growing currently, and what's your top seller?
I think our top seller is probably the one that's most sought after in Europe, which is the Hass, the dark-skinned varieties. I think the one that South Africans all love, that we've all grown up with, is the Fuerte. That's the one that we know. Yeah.
What makes a good avocado? We've spoken about the avocados that are quite big in Europe and what we grew up with in South Africa. But for you, as somebody who is in the industry and who is seeing the trends now, what makes a good avocado?
I think a good avocado is an avocado that can travel well. Because we're exporting such vast distances from here to Europe, which is about a 3-week journey by boat, it must have what we call legs or shelf life. And we found that the Hass variety, because of the slightly thicker skin, travels better than the most green skin varieties. Although, when I'm saying that, there is still a demand for the green skin variety in Europe as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about the technicality. So you had your own nursery, which you've cultivated to the extent now where you're starting to harvest. We saw the harvesting that was happening, and it was a very mechanical, very technical job. Where do you plant these avocados? Why do you plant it on the slope or on the slope of the valley? Yes. Why is that so important?
Okay. Avocados are very sensitive to water, especially their roots. They get a disease that's called Phytophthora. So you want to make very sure that your orchards are laid out in such a way that there's always a bit of a slope. And if you noticed, we planted on ridges most of the time, just to avoid the avocado standing in water. You never want its roots to be wet.
Would you not say that the impact of COVID and the lockdown would have contributed to some of the avocado farmers falling asleep on the job to a certain extent?
No, we've seen a slowdown in the South African avocado economy for a number of years. I don't think COVID had any impact. I think what COVID actually did was it highlighted the need for people to eat very healthily, and avocados being one of the superfoods, I think it actually did a boost for everybody in the country, because suddenly everybody wanted to eat healthy. We needed that healthy lifestyle, and avocados was a great way to fulfill that.
Just to close off, rands and cents, it's with the increase in the petrol, it's become a lot more expensive for you to send your goods across. What impact has that had on your business?
You know, it's hard to judge at the moment. We're expecting to see obviously much bigger increases than we've seen lately. At this stage, we've managed to, I think, absorb the costs of the increases. It has had an effect, and obviously avocados are not as profitable as they would have been had we not had these increases. Yeah. But we'll have to see going forward. You know, nobody can predict where the oil price is going to go to at this stage. We are concerned, and let's wait and see.
Yeah. Between me and you, Clive, what are you looking at in terms of profits of your avocado crops?
You know, that's very difficult to say because you've got orchards ranging from brand new orchards to very well established orchards. So it's very difficult to actually put a figure on it, but for an orchard to become profitable, you're probably looking at 7 to 8 years. So it's not a get quick rich scheme.
All right. On that note, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much, Clive Garrett, just giving us a bit more context around this issue of the green gold known as avocado and the growing demand that we're seeing not just globally but also locally. With that, it's back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much.